Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which is sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Jang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread, but opportunities are not. And with that, on Top Global Startups today, we have an incredible guest. Anton is an accomplished entrepreneur, cybersecurity visionary, and seasoned tech executive. With more than 2 decades of experience, Anton has built a remarkable career working at global companies like Deutsche Bank and leading development at teams at Sequem. Today, he's known as the CEO, best known as the CEO and co-founder of Verbus, a groundbreaking global engineering company delivering cutting-edge AI-driven solutions, and Squarely, an innovative AI-powered identity and access platform. Anton's expertise bridges deep technical understanding and sharp business acumen, positioning him as an authority on cybersecurity, innovation, and digital risk management. Join us as we deep dive into the evolving world of AI and cybersecurity, exploring threats, opportunities, and the strategies business need to thrive and survive in this dynamic digital age. With that, I'd like to introduce Anton. Hi, Anton.
Hi, Gary. Thank you for having me. Such a great introduction. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. And so Anton's with our upcoming cohort, so it's good to welcome you aboard our upcoming cohort, Anton. So you've transitioned from engineer to entrepreneur. What inspired you to make that shift?
That's a journey of my life. I think I was initially designed to be an entrepreneur, and engineering was just the way to get into that. And I got tremendous experience working with wonderful people, including my co-founder that I worked together 20 years ago and 13 years later. And now we founded the second business, Securely, which is the fantastic journey so far. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to join GSD cohort. Is it the cohort number 21?
Yeah, cohort. Something. I'm losing my mind for a second. Either 20 or 21. I've done a couple of these podcasts today. Actually, it's cohort 20 on this one. Sorry about that.
Wow, great. That's the amazing opportunity. And being an engineer, it actually, I believe that it's a mindset. So while I was always aspiring entrepreneur, and once an engineer, always an engineer. And I'm still doing stuff myself. I like the all new vibe coding paradigm that allows me to play around with new tech without contributing significant amount of time, because time is one of the most precious resources, if not the most precious resource we have.
It's cohort 21. I stand corrected. So just FYI. So Fran said, Gary, it's cohort 21. What's wrong with you? So
Awesome.
it's moving so quickly.
It's my favorite number. So,
So what lessons have you learned from your very early technical roles at Deutsche Bank and Sequem that still influence the way you lead your company today?
yeah, I actually wanted to start with the story. So one of my first, even pre Deutsche Bank and pre Cyclone, I was working for enterprise company headquartered in Clearwater, Florida. That's the SCC Soft Computer, and I was working as an engineer before, but it was my first entry in the enterprise world. And they are health tech company, life science. Mayo Clinics is one of their biggest clients. And there, when I joined one of the development team as an engineer, junior engineer at that time, one of my first assignments, like a big projects that I tackled myself, was SQL injection prevention for the software product that I was involved. It was more than 20 years ago, And at that time, SQL injection was relatively serious type of attack on the cyber front for the system. And I was so surprised that I was able, young aspiring engineer, still was working on my master's at that time, working full-time parallel, that I was able to retrieve the crucial, data HIPAA compliant using just the hacking skills, using the SQL injection technique. And that not only led to closing all these gaps in the company software, but also building the policy that allowed to build further future software that was already protected from that specific type of attack. And later on in the industry, I stayed in multiple, even few years after, when I was working for Deutsche Bank Financial Portal, that was not that prevalent type of vector of attack, the SQL injection, because the frameworks kept up and the technology grew. However, that first experience, first exposure to attacker mindset and the later on defender mindset allowed me to carry that cybersecurity in mind. And now we are in 2025, and prompt injection, which roots in that SQL injection so much. Prompt injection in AI world is one of the main ways for attackers to retrieve
Yeah, I
the
was going to say
right.
that that's, people don't think about that, right? So when you went down through, Anton, in your career, who are these hackers? Well, like, if you could, like, who's the average? Where are the average hackers from? Who are they? Right? Are they just kids goofing? Are they professionals? Are they organized crime? Who are they? Do you think?
So there are a lot of. I was just recently watching a TED talk from the criminal psychologist that studies those. And if you look in the FBI most wanted cyber list, um, they so at least those who are exposed, they are typically younger men. Um, and I don't want to profile them, but a lot of them are doing that as a act of rebellion, and they try to prove that they try to put themselves in the world. At least the most notorious ones are those hackers. There are a lot of criminal minds, criminal enterprises, specifically in the area of scammers and attackers on the consumer area, credit card fraud,
I
identity
mean, all the
fraud.
time. I mean, they're doing it all the time. I mean, I can't tell you. I don't know about you, but I get so many phishing attacks all the time. People coming at it. It's unbelievable. And some of the stuff looks real.
And it's getting more and more complicated. But there is another story, my company Arbis, which I started back in 2012 with the same co-founder we started securely with. And back when we grew to 100 engineers, still young and relatively small company, and we've been attacked by a consolidated effort of international group. And those people, we actually tracked them down. We have some names, locations. A lot of them, they were based in China. They were dealing through Indian registrar authorities on the domains that's were more relaxed and slower to respond for reports and banning. And they were very serious. That was a job for them. It's definitely was not, for
It
just
wasn't playing
fun.
around. They were doing. And what do they try to do? Get money from you, or what are they trying to do?
So they launched multiple vectors of attack, starting with phishing, the typical, but the level, the sophistication of those attacks. I was reviewing those just phishing emails and the way how they where somehow they extracted the information and they were able to mimic my writing style and attacking the employees, trying to get to them. The money scheme was the simplest one, to be honest. I think their main goal was to compromise the access to data and identity, either for the further ransomware attack, which is the most prevalent in terms of the economic value they just can encrypt. And for us working with dozens of clients and having that access to very, very protected data, being targeted by them, and it potentially could be a huge exposure. Luckily, we survived. None of my employees were compromised, or any data, any customers' data. However, I've got numerous and numerous reports of unsuspected people outside of the organization. They were sure that they are dealing with Urbis, and
That's
unfortunately, like my
unbelievable. That's
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, and they were going through like geography. You know how in sales and marketing, you build the funnels, you build the regions, areas, geographies, and we were tracking them, how they were dealing through Europe, through Eastern Europe, Greece, then they moved to Turkey, then they moved to Middle East. I think Saudi Arabia was the most lucrative uh, area for them because people are relatively rich there, a lot of people with significant wealth. However, I feel like the cybersecurity awareness and all of that is not that high, and that's led to a significant loss. I even spoke to FBI here in San Francisco, one of the representative, and one of the very unfortunate fact that they say that unfortunately there's so much of those that they won't be able to prosecute if the damages are below $1 million. And
Really?
yeah, they said that international criminal syndicate, there's like so many groups of them, and if we don't provide enough sufficient evidence for more than $1 million in damages, that just the prosecutor judge won't
That's
sign the prosecutor
unbelievable.
orders. Yes, that's like what I heard from the FBI representative, and that kind of made me very sad. We can submit always, on the cybercrime FBI website, all the cases, all the informations, receipts, and all of that, but uh, that's the case. And there's so many small groups that can chip away, and $1 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, you successfully launched and scaled multiple ventures. What's your secret sauce for identifying ideas worth scaling and pursuing?
I firmly believe that ideas are worthless without people that can make these ideas uh, come true. And so some time ago, when we were with my partner doing business, and I was coming up with ideas for that cybersecurity solution. And the thing is, if you see the problem in the world, and you know that you can attack that problem, you can bring the solution. Like, any idea is good. You just need to be persistent. You need to deliver the value. You need to have your clients in mind, your users that are suffering from. And one of the things in cybersecurity, that it will never go away. It's one of the things that will always stay with us. Gas-powered engines might go completely extinct in the future. Like, horse-based transportation is not existing anymore. But the cybersecurity is here to stay, and it evolves, it changes. Now there is a lot of cybersecurity which is AI related, because that's where the world is moving. The computing is moving faster at a faster pace towards the AI models, and that's what we will see in the future. And that's unfortunately, attackers, perpetrators are also using AI.
What happens
Eh,
when we get quantum computers, Anton, and they start putting AI on top of them? At what point does it get to be overwhelming?
I think that's gonna be an actual year 2K moment that never happened in the past. If you remember, everyone were scared. So once we got that access to publicly commercially available quantum computers, and that will change the cybersecurity principles a lot. And a lot of great minds are thinking of that now, uh, with all the encryption, all the crypto stuff is very susceptible for certain types of attacks. And we still have few years to prepare for that. As one of the things that we are building in securely is that we are building the solution that will be resilient and resistant to certain types of attacks that don't exist yet.
Yeah.
But we have to build that with that approach in mind. That's because it's going to come.
What's going to happen? Let's talk about the future. What's it look like? What kind of things should people be concerned about?
So the systems that were not built appropriately, they will very quickly become obsolete.
Hmm.
And a lot of change of power and in terms of the data control will happen. Like there are talks that larger crypto networks, cryptocurrency networks will be under a significant pressure with the growth of the quantum computing and all of that. And that's just imagine wiping the whole Bitcoin, like
Oh yeah,
trillions of dollars.
yeah. And then what's that going to do to the planet, right?
Yeah, that's the big things. A lot of modern encryption is not really quantum secure. We have the likes of ADR, RSA, and all of that is very susceptible to quantum type of attack. And we have major development. Jensen Huang, the NVIDIA's CEO, was very skeptical about quantum computing just a year ago, less than a year ago. And now look at him. He's talking about that. He understands that it's inevitable.
So what's the biggest challenge you faced when scaling Airbus and securely, and how'd you overcome it? What's the biggest thing?
Um, being an engineer born and raised in Ukraine, it brings like to have that like global mindset. It requires a lot of work on yourself to adapt. Now, when I'm based in Silicon Valley and I'm surrounded by all these great people, the other day I met with the one of the founders of Palo Alto Networks. I was just super impressed. And people, just on Monday, I was on a very private dinner with one of the top level former managers of OpenAI, was directly reporting to Ilya Sutskever. And I had so much inspiration hearing those great minds uh, delivering the real world product. You cannot argue that OpenAI changed the world drastically. Um, no matter what you think about Elon Musk, but Tesla changed the world as the company, and a lot of things built here in Silicon Valley. It's completely mind blowing. So me myself, I was born and raised, grew up, and started a business and developed a business all while being in Ukraine. And I always had that global mindset. I had a business in the UK. I moved it to San Francisco over time, and now that's where the headquarters are. But at the same time, a lot of people don't understand how lucky they are just of being able, having a privilege of being born American. Having the privilege is having this like incredible atmosphere, incredible relationship, networking, all of that. This is one of the things that I value the most. And knowing how to scale, the engineers are typically not the best people in terms of communication, soft skills, and all of that. So that it takes time to overcome all this natural limitation. But the people is the main source. And I'm so blessed that I was able to complement my skills with incredible talented people that I work with. And so it's the biggest challenge is to bring the right talent, right people, but also the biggest blessing that I had.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the right people, the right place at the right time. And you're right about Silicon Valley. I know I was down at Starbucks in El Camino and Tim Cook came in and I sat down and talked to him. And I went to the Chinese restaurant and Mark Zuckerberg was in there and had a chance to say hi to him and talk to him. And Jensen invited me over to lunch a couple of years ago. We had lunch in his office, and look at how it's unbelievable. This company's worth what, 4 trillion. So
Yeah,
but those are the success stories of the valley, and that's the beauty of Silicon Valley. It doesn't happen everywhere, Anton. There's magic there. There is magic there. You've got some of the brightest people in the world. You've got a lot of money that's looking to invest in really bright people, and then you got a kind of open-minded mentality. When I started Eva, I was walking down the street in Palo Alto and I saw David Yang, who I had met over in Moscow many years ago. And he said, Gary Fowler. And I said, David, how are you? And he said, good. He said, I'm looking to form a company and I want somebody to be the CEO and co-founder. Do you know anybody? And literally, I was walking down the street and 5 days later, we formed a company and the rest is history. That's how it
that's
works.
amazing.
That's the magic of. I'll get the Anton. When we started Eva Findo, I did it over in Menlo Park, and sitting alongside of me was Otter.ai, right? So Sam was sitting alongside of me. Um, Musically, TikTok was in the bullpen. Uh, Maria DB was there. Robinhood was there. We're all together. This is only a few years ago. Now, I remember having direct conversations with him. With Sam. He was doing customer development with me. So, Sam, if you're listening, by the way, Sam was on my show recently. If you're listening, hi, I'm going to be with him on Friday. But it's amazing. There's so much electricity because it is about the networking contacts, the operational expertise, and access to capital. And if you have those three, any company can pivot to become a unicorn. And sometimes we forget, you know, and sometimes you forget how lucky you are to be in places like Silicon Valley because there's magic that happens there. Um,
Absolutely.
so, how exactly is AI reshaping the cybersecurity landscape today from the attacker's perspective?
Yeah, so there are few things that we kind of want to distinguish as one of the attackers using AI and AI
Yeah,
capabilities in order to execute more sophisticated attacks.
and it
Another
goes
is
back and forth, Anton. It goes back and forth. The attackers have it. We come up with the response. The attackers have it. We come up with a response. We come up with something to defend before it's even there. They develop something to go over top of it. Right? It's like back and forth all the time.
always tug of war, and sometimes it does feel that we are, as the defenders, we are behind that because we need to place the guardrails, we need to place ethical norms. We want to have, they do researchers in OpenAI. I was talking to Monte Gibbs, who was doing one of the fantastic ethical research. He's a professor, visiting professor at Oxford, and that's one of the things that they built in, which also stops us from understanding in the details. Nothing stops the hacker to use AI unethically, other than these guardrails, which is somewhat breakable. You always can jailbreak, and that's is very known fact.
Mhm.
So what they are doing is they are utilizing those new capabilities, which are very accessible. You can sign up for $20 to $100, no background check, nothing is needed, and you get the most powerful tech that is available today. And that case that when Airbus was under a sophisticated attack, they were publishing like complex website that is mimicking Airbus website behavior in no time. And I was at that time I was impressed. I mean, like they hired a good engineers to do the job. So I was like researching that. And that's what I'm saying. It is a job. And right now, with all the white coding tools, I believe Cursor is like one of the fastest companies that reached 100 million ARR, right? And who stops those bad guys of using those amazing tools for social engineering, for publishing this sophisticated scam websites and everything? So that's one of the big
What
thing that.
is a scam website? Let's talk about it. What did they do? So tell the audience about what's a scam website and how does it operate?
Oh, there are a lot of ways of the again the most primitive way is just to extort some money, make users believe that it's legit, and by a phishing attack,
So
trying
you're
to
saying
steal.
you could get on a website. It's not really a website. It's like a fake website. Yeah.
And but the more sophisticated is one of the identity theft, and that's where 80% of data breaches involve compromised credentials. So the way what the attackers what they're doing is their goal is to using social engineering, using all these fake websites, using those links, phishing links, emails, and other means of communication, instant messaging. They want to get into your head, into your personal data, into your possessions, so that they can steal those viable, identifiable information about your identity and then use it for getting unauthorized access. As before said, like having the ransomware attacks is one of the most prominent one, is when the attackers, after obtaining the credentials, they using that credentials to just completely encrypt your business life and lock you out of the business. And there were a few major successful ransomware attacks, and they basically extort businesses for money, and businesses are paying millions and millions of dollars in somewhat traceable Bitcoin. And that's a good part that FBI is working, but the damages is being done. So the fact that afterwards some of those over $1 million in damages are being caught, that's a good thing. Another thing about the attackers, that they are leveraging that AI is a relatively new technology, right? The guardrails they're being built, but let's say then one of our clients on their side came to us is a major logistic software, and they want to build those amazing business intelligence inside to their platform. They have a lot of data, and they want an AI large language model, a foundational model, to have access to their data to produce legit business intelligence insights and reports. And this is wonderful. But then we have the prompt injection, where a perpetrator can get through that big black box, which is the LLM. Even researchers don't know what's happening inside of it, and they can trick it to provide them with the data that they are not authorized to see, including credentials, including the ways how to access the system. And that's where our us cybersecurity experts come into play, and we need to think from the get-go all the ways those perpetrators. We need to sometimes prioritize about attacks that are not yet happening, as we discussed before, quantum computing, and build, okay, let's use these algorithms, let's use this encryption. It might be a little bit of overkill right now, but we will thank ourselves a few years down the road. And just understanding all those ways, how how to protect data. Data is new gold. It's definitely the analogy of wild west, and here in California we're mining data. We're all about that in one shape or another, and we also need to protect that, the same as protecting the vaults of gold. And we have to protect data as well.
No, I agree. Listen, Anton, we're coming up to the top of the show. Closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
Now we are right now at Securely. Securely is a new type of business. We realize that the problem is that we are not using AI enough to protect people. And the Securely is the solution where we build it from the ground up, having those both those attacks in mind, and focusing narrowly on digital identity protection, focusing on further prevention of social engineering. We know that this is one of the main things. So why not to use AI? Why not to leverage AI to actually for good, for protection? And there are not that many solutions on the market that offers that on the business enterprise level, consumer level, and that's what we're doing. We are still early stage. We are not yet publicly launched, and we are developing and polishing business models. We are polishing our solution as a true engineers. We started with building the product and protecting it, but the main thing is actually delivering that solution to users, to as many people, and improving their life. So I'm happy to talk with anybody on LinkedIn. I have in my LinkedIn profile, I have a link to book a call with me. I'm very available. I like to talk to great minds like you, Gary, and other great engineers. I really hope that I also will go into coffee shop with with Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg, but we'll see. Maybe you will introduce me to some of the greatest people. Very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Inviting me.
Thank you for taking time as your busy schedule to join us today. And thank all of you for joining one more time. GSD Presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thank you, Anton, and I'll talk to you soon. And thanks, everybody. Take care of yourself and have a nice rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you.